The following movie has been rated R by the Motion Picture Association of America. This indicates that it contains material of an adult nature. Parents may wish to consider whether it should be viewed by children under 17.
Good evening. In view of this weekend's gathering at the Hershey Hotel to celebrate yet another successful year for Woodcock, Washburn, Kurtz, Mackwitz, and Norris, it is only fitting that we take a look at the organization that brought us all together here tonight. Before beginning, we would like to note our thanks to the partners for their cooperation and good nature in relation to this production. In view of this cooperation, every effort has been made to ensure that the production which you are about to see is as accurate as possible.
In order to better understand what this firm is all about, the firm's personality, we're going to talk to the partners in order to learn their views on various topics of firm life. And we're going to take a quick look at the staff. We also expect a very special guest, none other than the firm's patriarch and founder, Virgil Woodcock. Let's begin our tour of Woodcock Washburn. When someone visits or calls Woodcock Washburn, this is their first stop, the receptionist. The receptionist here is Irene. Irene is a very talented individual who seems to be able to handle many matters with the style and grace that the firm wishes to project as its image, its first impression.
Good afternoon, Woodcock Washtub. What do you want? Good afternoon, Woodcock Washburn.
In every law firm, one of the foundation blocks is its support staff. This is recognized at Woodcock Washburn, and the partners have made every effort in order to provide a pleasant and enjoyable environment in which to work. Let's take a look at the support staff during a typical business day. Inspiring, isn't it? Since Bob Washburn is the senior-most partner here at the firm, it's only fitting that we begin with him. Let's go now to Joe Clevenger III.
Bob, there's a particular question that a lot of people are curious about. You're clearly a distinguished, fatherly, senior partner figure here at the firm, and in fact, you're known as such throughout the whole legal community. In fact, there's long been a rumor that you were the inspiration for the character Leland McKenzie on L.A. Law. Is that true?
Absolutely none. I'm clearly much younger and better looking, and besides, I have a lower handicap.
Speaking of handicap, Bob, you're known as quite a successful golfer. What's the secret of your golfing success?
A Manhattan.
A Manhattan? Is that some sort of new golf swing?
No, silly. It's a mixed drink.
Well, that's the first time I've heard that drinking could help your driving.
It couldn't hurt.
Now, back to a more work-related subject. Is it true that as a young associate, you once painted Virgil Woodcock's house?
Yes.
Is that why you've been heard to say that the most important qualities in a young associate are a good brushstroke and an appreciation for proper surface preparation?
Absolutely.
Now, one final question, Bob. You're known as, in the trademark profession, as a pretty tough litigator. How do you get psyched up for a tough trademark deposition or an in-court proceeding?
I just like to sit back in my chair, fill up my pipe, and then I take a deep, long, relaxing smoke.
Well, thank you, Bob. We always knew you were a liberal Democrat at heart. Now, let's go to Al Laurie with Phil Johnson.
Phil, we understand that you were one of the prime movers and shakers in the office automation drive here at Woodcock Washburn. In fact, your own office is set up for maximum efficiency. We understand that you even have an automatic curtain closer which operates your curtains without you ever having to get up from your seat. Could you please show us how this works?
Why, certainly, Albert. I find myself saving quite a bit of time every day by opening and closing my curtains without getting out of my chair.
Thanks for that demonstration, Phil. I can see why more people will want to have those installed in their offices.
Well, they're a trend that will sweep this office,
On
I
a more
think.
personal note, it's been said by some of your partners that your two greatest passions in life are golf and cross-examination. Is this true?
Yes, it is true, Albert.
In fact, we've heard it said that you enjoy cross-examination more than good sex. Is this accurate?
There's no question that, by comparison, it's much better, Albert.
Well, thank you very much, Phil. You've been quite informative. Now let's go over to Laura Ditter, who's with Gary Levin.
We are outside the office of Gary Levin, one of the firm's top young partners and the firm's top recruiter of fine legal talent. Oh, quiet. Gary has a candidate in with him now. Let's listen in.
Well, we're very pleased that you've chosen to interview with our firm. There's always a place here for people with your background in biochemistry. And in fact, we are really hard up for candidates in the biochemical field. In fact, I'll let you in on a secret that none of the other partners will tell you, that we are so hard up for candidates in the biochem field that even if you don't accept this job, you get to come to a Christmas party and a golf outing.
Would you like to go to the ladies' room?
Gary, I know you were quite busy today interviewing candidates, but do you have a few moments to talk with us?
Sure.
Could you tell us the secret of your success in finding good legal recruits for the firm?
Well,
Excuse me, I have another recruit here to see you, Mr. Levin.
Gary, I can see this is not a good time to chat with you, so we'll come back later.
Whatever happened to Fairy, that delicate satin-draped frame?
Hello, Mr. Levin. My name is Miss Frances Feather, but you can call me Fanny.
How I started to cry.
I guess we better go to Mike Michelle, who is outside Norman Norris's office.
We haven't been able to get in to see Norman yet today because he's been on the phone. Let's see if he's free now. We'll stop back a little later. Let's return now to our commentators in the lobby, who I believe have Virgil Woodcock with them.
We were supposed to have Virgil Woodcock with us at this point, but he hasn't appeared yet. I wonder where he is, Sue.
John, I bet he's stuck on one of those SEPTA trains.
Interesting building. I haven't seen this much marble since the mausoleum. That building doesn't have any places to eat in either. Boy, this thing is quick. Caldwell wasn't exaggerating.
Oh my God, it's Virgil Woodcock. What are you doing here?
It's a Lombard. What does it look like? My name is on the door, isn't it?
Yes, of course. It's just that you have been here for quite some time.
So what if I haven't been here since Matthews had hair? This is my firm, isn't it? The one I started? What is this? Gary Levin? Diane Elverkin? And what does this Rocky guy do? Trademark work for Mama Celeste? Or maybe he counts as our bill collection department? Whatever happened to nice normal names like Virgil Woodcock and John Matthews?
Mr. Lentz, Mr. Ed Lentz.
While we are waiting for Virgil to show up, let's go now to Lynn T. Markey, who's with the Heistmeister himself, Dale Heist.
This is a rather broad question, Dale, but would you share with us your views on the major components necessary for the continued success of Woodcock Washburn as it enters the 21st century?
Marketing, marketing, marketing.
Marketing? That's it?
Yes, marketing.
What exactly do you mean by marketing?
I think you have to just go out and be outgoing. You go out to various meetings and other things where you get to know the clients and potential clients that you hope to serve. And you have to be outgoing enough to get to know them.
Do you mean shamelessly pandering to potential clients, schmoozing until it gets so deep you need boots, having drinks and dinner and playing golf with people you dislike, conversing with the dullest of the dull, all in the name of generating future income?
Oh, certainly.
I guess you would also attribute the firm's tremendous growth in the past 5 years to...
Marketing.
Yes, that's what I thought. And speaking of growth, if you don't mind my saying so, you don't appear to have grown as much as the firm has. Although some say that the abilities of an attorney are best measured by his height, do you believe that there is a better measure for an attorney other than his height?
Sure, matrix tensile strength.
Well, let's move on to some different subjects. We've heard that you often come to work with some very interesting hairstyles. Why is that?
To be successful at marketing, you have to appeal to all types of clients, even at times the disheveled.
Now, Dale, we've talked about the components necessary for Woodcock Washburn's success. Can you tell us how you see the actual future of the firm?
Well, if I were king of all things, yes, that's the way it should be.
Very interesting. Dale, if you could choose a career other than law, what would you choose as your vocation?
Don't dream it. Don't dream it.
Thank you very much, Dale. And now, let's go to Michael Michelle, who's with Norman Norris.
Sorry, Norman's still on the phone.
Good morning, Cindy. How you doing? Good.
Mr. Adler? Oh, I'm sorry. Dr. Benny Adler.
Well, I understand Diane just got here. Let's see if we can get our interview now. Well, it looks like Diane is really busy right now, so we won't be able to talk to her directly. However, unbeknownst to Diane, we installed a hidden camera in her office earlier today so we could get some candid shots of Diane in action. This should be a pretty good little film clip since Diane is known to be one of the nicest, kindest, sweetest, gentlest, most soft-spoken people in the entire office. Let's switch to that camera now.
I'm running, yes, I'm running. Oh, God, what a day. It's gonna be. I can see it already. Everyone pulling at me every which way. I don't know which way to go, and, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I can take it anymore. Partner in a large firm, I don't know. Should have been better at this. Should do something that's more relaxing. Diane Elderkin, what do you want? Oh, it's my favorite client. Okay. Yes, that's right. I changed my billing policy. I no longer bill by the hour. That's right. I charge $10,000 for each application, whether or not your so-called inventors come up with anything worth filing on. And I want the money up front, before I start working, in cash, small bills, under the flower pot next to my front door. And I have to have it all up front. The last thing I need is to have to collect my fee later and end up with a payment and 5-year supply of your product. Oh, that's what I need. Damn client.
Oh. Well, let's move on to the next partner. Let's move on to Mike Rich, who's with Dick Kurtz now.
Well, Dick's not here right now, but we understand that Dick will be returning shortly from the firm's Boca Raton office. Dick has been attending depositions in Boca Raton on yet another SEPTA personal injury suit. As we all know, Dick is a prominent member of the SEPTA bureaucracy and an avid train enthusiast. Some might say that SEPTA is the source of Dick's toy train habit, yet others just might call SEPTA a tough time getting to work. The toy train habit of Dick and other enthusiasts has been investigated by the well-known investigative reporter Robin Leach.
The warning signs of the toy train habit begin with making little choo-choo noises, and before you know it, you've bought a funny little conductor's hat and you're hooked. The cost of his Chattanooga choo-choo is anything but downscale.
Well, Dick has returned from the Boca Raton office. Let's see if we can have a word with him. We understand that you've been toiling in the sun in Boca Raton. How was the weather in Boca?
Super. Just super.
On another issue, we understand that you're a strong proponent of law office automation. So much so that the ABA did an article on the firm. Can you tell us about that?
I mean, that's the story of my life. No respect.
Yes, I'm outside the office of Steve Rocky. What we've already learned about Steve is that many of the law clerks and associates really look up to him for advice and guidance. Steve, are you in here? Is Steve here? Oh, there you are.
Thanks so much for your help, Steve.
Yes, Steve, thanks a lot.
Steve, we understand that many of the law clerks and associates really look up to you for advice and guidance. Can you share with us some of your ideas and lessons that you try to pass on to these young lawyers?
Well, I think it's important that every new associate keep in mind precision, neatness, and orderliness. Those are the three keys to becoming a successful attorney.
Thank you very much for your time, Steve. We need to move on to some of the other partners now. Well, let's go now to... Oh, here's some of the clerks that Steve works with. Excuse me. We understand that Steve's worked with each of you. We're wondering if you could share some of the assignments Steve's given you and some of the assistance he's given you in general to become good lawyers.
Oh my God! Like, Steve is great. Like, he told me that if I could erase all the stray marks from the PQs and alphabetize and cross-reference all the files on his desk, that, like, he would tell me about all the good times at Arthur Seidel's firm. And tomorrow, like, if I can recite 10 reasons why the Penwalt decision was wrong, like, I get to clean out his, like, file cabinets.
Well, that's very interesting. Steve certainly is very big on organization, isn't he?
Yes, he is. In fact, he gave us this manual to memorize.
And Steve has given us his trash can to use as an example of how to dispose of trash properly.
Johnson. What is this? A law firm or a video arcade? He can't actually need all these computers for work. What did I tell you?
Let's go now to Albert Neese, who's standing by with Frank Payton.
Frank, you're known for working well with people, working well especially with young people, teaching people a lot of things about patent law. What do you really think is something you try to really drive in to somebody when you're trying to teach them to write a patent application?
Well, you know what this really sounds to me an awful lot like a problem I got to when I was in a law firm back in Cleveland, way back before any of you were born. And a case related to a patent on a Framus injector. And I remember we had to go out to Denver, Colorado to interview the client. And he used to corral horses for a living. But when he wasn't corralling horses, why, he was inventing Framus injectors. And we eventually brought a suit out there and collected 100 head of cattle and in damages from the infringer. And the patent owner is a big cattle rancher now.
On the other hand, I also know that you also work well with, let's say, the higher-ups in large corporations, the CEOs, the chief patent counsels. If you had a very large chemical company come to you and they had already built a huge plant and were faced with the threat of infringement and might be able to get out of it through a complex practice known as interference, what kind of initial advice would you give them?
Case related to a patent on a Framus injector. And I remember we had to go out to Denver, Colorado to interview the client. And he used to corral horses for a living. But when he wasn't corralling horses, why, he was inventing Framus injectors.
Well, thank you, Frank. That was interesting. Frank, let's change subjects here entirely. You also, as an aside to your practice of law, were at one time commissioner of harness racing for the state of Delaware. Could you relate to me how you got involved in that?
Way back before any of you were born. And a case related to a patent on a Framus injector. And I remember we had to go out to Denver, Colorado to interview the client. And he used to corral horses for a living. But
Thanks very
when
much,
he wasn't
Frank.
corralling horses, while
Now
he
let's
was
go over to
inventing
Rick
Framus
Newman
injectors.
at the offices of John J. Makiewicz.
Thank you, Albert. We're about to meet John Makiewicz and get a look at his legendary offices. They were recently featured on the lifestyles of the rich and famous. In fact, even Donald Trump was impressed on his recent visit for financial advice. This is John's anteroom. It was built to capture the light, airy look of an Antiguan island estate. The anteroom leads into a spacious conference room designed to put even the most difficult clients at ease. Off to the side of the conference room is a cavernous wine cellar where John stores his rarest vintages. And here's the inner office and John Makiewicz. Some office you've got here, John.
I've liked it very much.
Mind if we ask you a few questions? John, we've asked a lot of the partners questions concerning the firm and the legal profession. With you, we'd like to switch gears a bit and get onto some more personal questions to better get to know the firm personality. I've heard that you're an excellent trap shooter. In fact, you won the Signal of Peace trophy a few years ago. What is it about this sport that you find so attractive?
Well, it's a sport very much like golf where you compete primarily against yourself. It requires timing, and my wife enjoys trap shooting, and it's a sport that we do well together.
That's very interesting, John. Thank you for your time. I'm sure we can find our way out of here. Now that we've seen John in his office environment, we thought you'd enjoy seeing him in outdoor action. We've obtained some home video from Marilyn Makiewicz of him out on the trap range. We think you'll recognize Norman Norris, too.
Oh! Oh! Felt like a stone.
Well, that concludes our segment on John Makiewicz. Let's go now to Mike Michelle at Norman's office. He's a hard man to catch off the phone, but maybe we'll have some luck this time.
Well, it appears that Norman is still on the phone. It appears that offering advice over the telephone is a key to becoming a successful partner. Since we were unable to talk with Norman directly, wouldn't it be interesting if we could find out who and what clients he advises on a typical workday? So for this purpose, let's talk with our comptroller, Tom Moore.
Ms. Kempler, Ms. Gail Kempler.
Hi, Tom.
Hey, Mike.
Do you happen to have a copy of a typical daily phone log from Norman Norris?
Yeah, I'm sure I can find one somewhere around here. Take a look. Yes, Mike, I think this could be considered typical for one day.
Boy, I don't understand this. Let's see if we can get some clarification from Norman on this. Norman, we just checked the daily phone records, and we've noticed that you frequently call two numbers, most frequently a 976 LUST number, and sometimes this SPANKME number. Could you please tell us who those clients are and what kind of work you're doing for them?
No comment.
Well, Norman, please, just a quick answer.
Goodbye. Hey, we didn't have furniture this nice in my day. Real mahogany, not like that silly phone. Nice bird, though.
Well, as we said before, Norman's a tough man to catch up with. Let's go now to Sue, Paul, and Paul, who's standing by with Ted Preston.
Ted, some of your partners have mentioned that marketing is going to be essential if the success that the firm has experienced thus far is to be continued. We have not, however, touched upon the topic of attorney advertising, which, of course, is an integral part of any marketing effort. You have been very successful in your career in attracting and keeping good clients. If the firm were to put forth an aggressive advertising campaign, what do you think the focus of such a campaign should be in order to maximize impact and effect?
Are you concerned with the protection of your company's intellectual property, the filing and obtaining of patents, the registration of trademarks? Have others in the industry copied and used your ideas in the marketplace, but yet when you went to hire an attorney, you found their prices to be exorbitant? Do you cringe every time your salespeople say the I word, infringement? Are you living in fear of New York and Washington price schedules? Well, fear no more. Crazy Teddy's. That's right. Come on down to Crazy Teddy's, 1650 Market Street in Philadelphia. Crazy Teddy will not be beat on price by anyone. Let's say you have a patent application that you want prepared. You have 12 inventors, a 73-page single-spaced written disclosure, and 34 drawings. New York or Washington firms might charge $15,000 or $20,000 for such a project, but not Crazy Teddy. Crazy Teddy won't charge $15,000. Crazy Teddy won't charge $10,000. Crazy Teddy won't charge $5,000. $29.95. That's right, $29.95. For the 1971 price of an Earl Scheib paint job, Crazy Teddy will prepare that patent application. He'll write the description, he'll prepare 300 claims, and he'll get all 34 drawings ready for submission to the patent office. You say you have a copyright application that you want prepared? Free. That's right, free. Crazy Teddy will not be beat on price by anyone. He'll slash, he'll cut. Crazy Teddy will not be beat on price by anyone because his prices are insane.
That you just wing. You don't have to prepare for it.
Well, thank you, Ted. You certainly have some unique thoughts on the subject. Let's go now to Joe Bashand, who's standing by with John Caldwell.
John, it's come to our attention that you were the founder of the Smokers' Liberation Front, the renegade guerrilla organization which worships tobacco and has, at times, engaged in acts of random violence to promote the rights of individuals to smoke or otherwise consume tobacco products. Is that true?
That's correct.
So are we to understand that you personally smoke or otherwise consume tobacco products?
That's correct.
What does your organization mean by smoke or otherwise consume tobacco products? What can you do with tobacco other than smoke it?
It makes a nice salad with some balsamic vinegar.
What are the other forms in which you personally enjoy the plant your organization deifies as the smoldering wonder weed?
Cigars, cigarettes, pipes, chewing tobacco, and that most nefarious of substances, snuff.
So it's true then, at one recent luncheon you were heard to say that there's nothing better than a good stogie with a batch of Susanna's pan-fried dumplings?
That's correct.
John, how do you reconcile your frequent diatribes against smokers with your activities in the Smokers' Liberation Front?
I'm a partner.
I guess that would explain things, wouldn't it? Now, John, you've acquired considerable renown for your Epicurean skills. For example, you're known to be an excellent cook and to have excellent taste in the selection of fine wines and sticky buns. And we're quite certain that your Epicurean talents roll over to your selection of restaurants. What's your favorite restaurant here in Philadelphia?
Susanna Foods.
Just out of curiosity, where did you eat breakfast this morning?
Susanna Foods.
Where did you eat lunch today?
Susanna Foods.
And where are you planning to eat dinner?
Susanna Foods.
John, if you could pick the one woman who has had the greatest influence in your life, who would it be?
Susanna Foods.
And who would be the man you admire the most?
Arthur T. Fatty Bean.
And what quality, Mr. Fatty Bean, do you most admire?
His professionalism.
Well, John, thank you very much. Let's take it back to the lobby now.
Well, I think that about wraps it up, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize that our special guest never quite materialized, but at least you were able to meet the current principals of the firm.
What a group, what a firm.